Hello everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about film, how it motivates us, how it inspires us, and how you can come to see it as an investment of time. But before I get into that, I believe the best place to start is in the past. Let me take you back 4 years. October of 2019, right before the pandemic. I was in the 7th grade, and life was just so much simpler back then. I didn't have to worry about advanced courses, didn't have to worry about what major I was gonna get into, what university I was gonna get into. And so I saw film very simply as well. Saw it as a 2 to 3 hour time killer. Nothing really to get much out of. But that all changed on that October of 2019. I went with my father to watch The Joker, a movie I expected to be a normal superhero movie. It's nothing fancy. But it was so much more than that. When I left the movie, I couldn't stop thinking about the themes, the characters, how it dealt with mental illness. So much to the point that I stayed with my father for hours on end on my house, talking, discussing, maybe until like 1, 2 a.m. And that was so special to me because I felt for the first time like an adult. I felt like I finally had a serious conversation about a work of art. And that was amazing. And I wanted that feeling. I craved for that feeling again. So I started watching more and more movies. I got into many different filmmakers, like Christopher Nolan. Once I watched Christopher Nolan and his interpretations on physics and science, I started really getting into my physics and science classes at school. At the time, I really wasn't into all of that. It really wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't perform the best. It was sort of a meh class. But once I started watching Inception, Interstellar, Memento, I loved how Nolan manipulated time, and he made science look like it showed how the world worked and how beautiful it was. And so I started going to school excited. I wanted to learn. I really was excited to learn about physics, chemistry, computer science. And once this happened, my grades went up. And soon enough, all of these classes became my favorite classes, the ones I most excelled at. And with that, that's what I wanted you to leave with today. Film as an investment of time. Well, what is an investment? An investment is when you put something in and you expect something bigger in return. And you can see film this way by seeing that you put those 2 to 3 hours in and you can get a different experience, a new perspective on life, motivation, and inspiration. And with that, I want to ask, how does film do this? How does it come to make us so emotionally invested? And after some research, I've come to the conclusion that the biological factor is a very big part on the impact of film. There are these things in our brain called mirror neurons. What is a neuron? A neuron is the fundamental unit of our brain. It allows our body to communicate with all its parts. It allows us to interpret our environment. And mirror neurons are a type of neuron that allow us to see faces, see the emotions that the person is feeling, and feel the same emotion. Essentially, it allows us to feel empathy. And if we think about this, we can use this as a tool. If we put this 2 to 3 hours in with no distractions, that's why the cinema is so important. You're in a completely silent room, completely dark, and you're paying full attention to the faces of the characters. You get immersed, and you believe that these faces, these actors, are real people. And your brain starts working. These mirror neurons activate. And this, if we start feeling and thinking of it like this, we can use film as a tool to inspire us. You can watch a really good movie about friendship, and you can leave that movie feeling that, hey, maybe I haven't been the best friend lately. Maybe I should call that friend I haven't talked to in a while. Maybe I should treat my friends better. And with that, I want to leave you all with a final anecdote of mine. I was on a trip to Europe right where the pandemic was starting to dissipate and traveling was normalized. I went to the cinema on a trip to Europe with my father. My father had refused to go because he found it a little bit weird to go to the cinema in the middle of a trip to beautiful Europe. And I didn't see it that way. I saw film as an investment of time, an investment of my time. And so I went to watch this movie called After Sun, about a father and his daughter going on a trip to another foreign land, just like me. They were going to Africa and they were bonding over their experiences. And they had to come to assimilate the fact that both parents were divorced, and once that trip ended, they wouldn't see each other in a very long time. And because of this, the father's mental state quickly deteriorated. And in the climax of the movie, he had a complete emotional outburst. And once the credits rolled, I couldn't help myself but to relate to the characters. My parents being separated as well. I couldn't help but to see myself in the daughter, see my father in the father, and relate to all the emotions that happened. And I had an emotional outcry. I wanted to tell my father that I'm thankful for him, for all of the time we spent together, for all the films we watched together, for all the trips we went together, and for all the time that we didn't see each other and he worked tirelessly to afford these trips with me. Now that he is here, I want to tell him, thank you so much. I want to have more trips with you. I want to spend more time with you. And I want to watch more films with you. Thank you, Dad. And with that, I want to leave you all with film as an investment of your time. You can put those 2 to 3 hours in, your undivided attention, and you can get so much out. I never thought that putting those 2 to 3 hours in back on October of 2019 will lead me right here on this stage talking to all of you about film. Thank you.